Like Podcast, episode number 15. Today, joined by the Eggman himself, Purple Swordfish. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, Andy. Can't help but notice that you did 3 intros, and in all 3 intros, you neglected to say that it's the DCD podcast. Terrible branding.
That's a lie.
Terrible branding.
That's a lie.
We'll go back to the tape. It's fine. You'll see. We're going to use that intro.
Started it up with welcome back to the DCD podcast, episode number 15.
I think he said welcome back to the podcast. Okay, well, Andy has left the call. My head has gotten very large on the video version of the podcast. It's like my head gets huge, and then there's like the bar in the middle over my face. It's like a really bad face mask, but that's terrific. So we're keeping this intro. I'm doing pretty well this week, Andy. How was your week?
Fine. Waiting on Thursday. Some team won, apparently.
The Red Sox. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, not plugging my channel at all. I'll do that later. But in my last live stream, I noticed that you took the time to timestamp your live reaction because you were in Discord with me. Yeah, you were in a Discord chat with me while I was streaming some Madden. And your live reaction there. And if you want to check it out, Andy's really, really excited live reaction to the Red Sox winning their series against the Yankees. It is out there, and it is time-stamped on my latest Madden stream. But quite the win for the Red Sox. As a Red Sox fan, you have to be pretty stoked, especially considering it is beating the Yankees. As a Marlins fan who is not a Yankees fan, but they ravaged the Marlins in another trade, pretty happy to see them lose as well. Other than that, week went pretty well. Didn't run into any more cars at 5 miles an hour after getting ice cream. I'm not trying to have a go at you. I just want to make sure you're all right, dude.
No.
Full of surprises this week. You're wearing a Phoenix jersey over a hoodie.
Yeah?
Yeah. True story about Andy. I don't know if I mentioned this, but even here in Florida, he wears a hoodie all the time.
I like hoodies.
It's an interesting fashion choice.
I like hoodies.
And I'm not critiquing you. I'm the guy with the creepy beard that people always make fun of in my stream.
A 3/4 sleeve at one day, so.
That is true. That is true. It was pretty hot down here. I don't know how you did it. Just being honest. So, I guess we should get right into our topics. And okay, cool. So, well, you know what? I'll ask myself. Alex, how was your week? Because, Andy's not going to ask. So, well, thanks for asking, Alex. My week went pretty well. It was pretty busy. Streamed some Madden. Started a new.
The worst intro to our podcast ever.
It's fine. It's my last week on the podcast. I'm starting a new podcast that I came up in my last stream.
And then when I leave at 999, podcast speed.
It'll be,
two different hosts.
So DCD is going to be like OCD? No, because that doesn't make sense because D stands for duo. I was going to say, well, Dead Channel Solo, DCS. There you go. I was thinking the D.
No, I'll get
changed to an O for 1. Okay, well, there you go. You said you were going to get Cheetos.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to find Cheetos, by the way.
Oh, I have a little.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I was in Florida. We met up.
Dude, if you could have found Cheetos, we totally could have made a little vlog out of it. But yeah, pretty good week. Did some Madden streaming, had some weekend league rage. That was like an unbelievable meltdown. Definitely go check that out. Started a new Madden series on the channel. That's been doing pretty well. That's been pretty tight. And
I'll give you some pointers on it.
Yeah, I got some good pointers, by the way, from you and Bengal and a couple. Oh God, who was it? It might have been DJ Davis, I think. He's a good friend of the channel, but got some good pointers. I'm excited to keep doing that series. And I've been playing a lot of Mega Man 11 when I haven't been doing that. And Mega Man 11 is awesome. But now that we've gotten through all that, and we've got probably the best intro ever to the podcast, no doubt about it. Lots of buffoonery this week on DCD 15. By the way, I thought this was 14, which was a little awkward for me because I think I tweeted out that it was 14, which last week I made a thumbnail and I put 13 on the thumbnail and then realized my mistake right before I uploaded the audio only version of the podcast. So I'm losing track of time already.
Thumbnail that had 12 on it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But that was because I forgot to change the number on the Photoshop file. So.
It is pretty crazy to me. Before we get into our first topic, I forgot to mention it in the last episode, but this is going to be, we're actually starting month 3 of, no, this is 4. This is the 4th month we've done this podcast.
July, August, September, October.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that it's been going that long. And by the way, thanks for the
quarter of the year.
Thanks for the support in September. It was our best month ever. We've improved every month since then. And we got to make October better. I don't want to break that streak. Anyway, moving on to our first topic. I want to talk a little bit about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I know that you're excited about this because we pushed up our podcast recording date, which I was more than happy to do. I love recording these early because it gives me more time to edit. So thanks for that, Andy. But
it feels weird every time.
Well, that's fine. We're going to record on a Sunday next time. Screw Sunday Night Football. I don't even want to watch it. That's a lie. But anyway.
Like a whole week early?
Yeah, dude. Let's just, I really want to get, this is probably a better topic.
So our topics will be a week behind every week?
Dude, why not?
That's
like, no. I really want to get one. I know this is kind of an offline discussion, probably more so than a podcast discussion, but I really do think that we need to record a couple that aren't topic based, that aren't like time sensitive, and just have them in the can for a week where, like, I don't know, maybe you get sick or maybe I get sick and can't record.
I don't get sick.
Well, then I guess we'll have to find a special guest to replace one of us. But
yeah, that'll be all right. Or a solo cast for an hour and 2.
Yeah, I'll just talk about aliens for an hour. Anyway, so let's get on to Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I want to pick your brain about a couple things. Number one, you're obviously getting the game day one, right?
Yep.
Have you pre-downloaded it?
Yep.
Okay. So, as someone who's pre-downloaded it, has it allowed you to pre-download the 50 gig day one patch?
I don't know. It's just set the auto download.
Oh, really? So you don't know? Because I was just wondering, like, what's your thought on day one patches? Because they seem to be getting bigger and bigger over the years. I think that maybe you and I might have a different take on it. Do day one patches bother you at all?
Nope. Prefer them.
Okay, so you prefer them. Wow.
Yeah, I'd rather there be a day one patch than the game be broken.
Okay, that's true. Do you think that companies rush a product out the door knowing full well that what's on the disc will not work properly?
I feel like what happened is they went gold, and then the beta came out.
Okay.
And then they found some issues in the beta.
Okay. That makes sense.
But also it's 50 gigs, so
50 gigs, man.
Maybe they're doing it, they're changing the script. Maybe they didn't want people play the game early.
Yeah.
So that's why the update's so big.
Possibly. I mean, that could certainly be it too. I never really thought of it from that standpoint, so I'm glad you brought that one up. I guess I come from a different generation, and that's kind of why I wanted to pick your brain on it a little bit, because I come from a generation where then again, you started on the Super NES, so you know how this was too. Like, when a game shipped, the game shipped. That was it. Like, there was no patch, no nothing. And then I remember when the original Xbox came out, they started, like, somewhat allowing day one patches. You had to go through, like, a certification process with Microsoft. It was a massive pain, and it was obviously limited in terms of size of what you could do. But you could theoretically patch a game several times over the course of a game's life on the original Xbox. I remember people, especially from the PC community, being concerned about it, saying, yeah, in the PC community, we thought it was a good idea at first, but then people started shipping games that were completely broken out of the box, and unless you could connect to the internet and download the patch, you basically had a piece of junk. So I'm a little concerned by that. And then finally, the only other thing that I find kind of remarkable about it is the size of these patches getting bigger. and how it impacts the user experience. So how fast is your home internet?
It's like 120 down.
Okay. Because, like, mine is...
125.
Mine's about... like, I just recently got an upgrade in my area where it's like 300 to 400 down. But I have to pay considerably more than the base price to get it. Not bragging or anything, but I'm just saying it's not something a lot of people
Flex
would...
on the haters.
Like, if I wasn't a streamer, I probably wouldn't pay for it. You know, I'm just saying. Like, if I didn't stream...
You don't need the download.
Well, the upload's really nice, but I'll tell you, the upload speed, they get you on that. That lower speed that they advertise for, like, starting at $19.99, like, has an upload speed of, like, 1 megabit per second, which is just, it's not workable. Anyway.
Well, most people don't need upload, that's why.
That is correct.
You get away without upgrading it.
Definitely have a point there. Nevertheless, like, I do know somebody who does not have great internet, and they were recently lamenting on Twitter that they had redboxed a game, and the size of the download and probably the server bottleneck, it probably wasn't even their home network, but the server that you're downloading the update from took so much time. He was like, I'm not really even going to be able to use this 1 day rental from Redbox, which I thought, wow, that's kind of a way that it impacts the end user. I don't know. I guess I'm old school. I want, like, these day one patches to be smaller. Like, what the hell? So next, Andy doesn't care. I love how you're just so unfazed, man. Like, I feel like we really, like, even though we played similar systems growing up, despite the age gap.
What if they did that so people don't rent it?
Mm-hmm.
They have to buy it to play it.
Are we in an EA board meeting right now? Because that's like you sound like you work for
stuff. Like, what if you came out with a 50 gig update? They did nothing. Like, it's just dead space.
Yeah.
One big audio clip of nothing.
See, I think
so people won't rent it. They'll have to buy it.
I think that honestly, as time goes on, more and more, I feel like what's on a disc when you buy a physical copy of a game is literally just a license, if that makes sense. You see the Red
Dead 4K download?
It's probably something in the neighborhood of 40 gigs. Probably
125.
Okay, because I was going to say it's probably like Forza Motorsport 7. They were saying like the 4K version, it's something stupid like 60 gig on the disc and then like another 60 gig download, or it was like 40 and 40 or 50 and 50. Yeah. It was a considerable amount of space, and then I'm sitting there looking at even the Xbox One X, right? Because that would be what you would use the 4K download for. And I'm like, it only has a 1 terabyte hard drive? Are you kidding me? Like, why? Well, you know, I just thought that it was kind of anemic to put a 500 gig hard drive in both the PS4 and the Xbox One. I ran out of space real quick. I buy a lot of games. I got an external hard drive. I ran out of space on that.
If you go to the ready to install area on Xbox, my number is 338.
Oh man, I wonder what mine is. I would venture a guess it's got to be. I probably have about the same amount because I've reviewed quite a few indie games on the channel, and I do buy quite a few.
4 terabyte external hard drive that had like 300 games downloaded to it at one point.
I mean, that's what you're having to do right now is get hard drives.
But, like, let's be honest, no one else is going to be... I'm in the minority of downloading 300 games.
I agree with you. I think that, you know, we probably are not the bigger section of the market, and there's quite a few people that I talk to on a regular basis, specifically on YouTube, where they're like, yeah, I have 3 or 4 games. You know, that 3 or 4 games that I regularly play. They don't switch up that much. So that makes sense. Anyway, one more thing on Call of Duty Black Ops 4 that I just thought would be an interesting exercise, more so with Andy than myself, because I don't really think that I have that much insight to it. I haven't been really engaged with the Call of Duty series for a while. Do you think, because I noticed, and I put a link in our show notes, Andy, because I'm all professional, where you can kind of see the trend on Call of Duty sales over the years. Oh, okay. So then you know what I'm talking about. Like, do you think that Black Ops 4 with its new features, with a more enhanced look at multiplayer, adding Battle Royale, doing away with single player. I realize it's a trade-off for some people, but most people would say, hey, this Battle Royale mode is so much fun. It's like the easiest trade-off in the world to sell to somebody. Do you think that this will be kind of a return to form for them? Not necessarily getting back to Modern Warfare 3 levels, but
a return to form. I think it will surpass Modern Warfare 3 by a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a bold prediction.
Because one, the Battle Royale community, massive, through the roof. But also, they put a good product on PC. Every year, Call of Duty PC product is a joke. But this year, people played the PC beta for Blackout, and they actually had a lot of fun. They enjoyed it. So there's a whole, you could say third or quarter of the community, PC players that don't buy Call of Duties that may buy this one.
That's an interesting point, Andy, and you bring more insight than I ever would to this discussion. The PC point is a good one. I remember a day when Call of Duty was considered a PC title first and a console title second.
Well, yeah,
so that kind of shows you how far back I go.
If you look at the top games on this list, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Ghost, Black Ops 3.
They were console.
Not like the only PC Call of Duty I did, like the last one that did pretty decent was probably Modern Warfare 2.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think that it has a chance to definitely revive the series. And by revive, I hate to use the word revive. I would say reinvigorate would be a better word.
Great,
Because, well,
you revive people in Call of Duty, like in Blackout mode. When your squad mate gets down, you revive him.
Okay, that was good.
The game is down. You gotta revive him. Give him that med kit.
Yeah,
the Blackout med kit push.
I'm just not doing I just don't want anybody thinking I'm doing doom and gloom here on the Call of Duty franchise. Like, it's still an unbelievably hot seller.
I mean, you could also use these numbers. Like, look, World War II is 12.19 million, and at one point it was selling 30 million copies, or close to 30 million copies a year.
I mean, when I looked at those figures, it was illuminating for me. I looked at it and it was more than I thought. But then I went back and I thought about it, and I said, I remember a day when if you didn't have Modern Warfare 3, people kind of like looked at you a little weird. Like, you have an Xbox, you have a PlayStation, why do you not have that game? Because everybody was playing it.
Off topic.
Yeah.
I went to the midnight release for it, as I did with Call of Duty every year.
Yeah.
Before I went digital. And my friend bought the game digitally. Or not digitally. He bought the game physically at the midnight release. And then, this was like 8th grade, 7th grade. So we can't drive. So somehow we convince our parents to take us. And he gets home, puts in the disc, plays one game. His 360 falls over, and he laser burns the disc.
Oh, that thing where it would create the perfect ring because some mechanism.
Laser burned his disc, so he had to wait until the next day to get a new copy. And then I prestige by the time he got his next copy.
I gotta say, as someone who really loved the Xbox 360, despite its many architectural flaws, I think I could do
Laser burn, Red Ring of Death.
We could do a whole podcast on it. Like, I could tell you all kinds of stories. I remember I had this one customer. He was like one of my best customers because he bought 4 of everything. I mean, I'm talking about he bought 4 360s when they launched. He bought 4 copies of every game, and he had them all wired together in his house, like on a LAN, so he could play with all his sons, basically. He was just like, I guess, a cool dad who liked to play with his sons in games like Call of Duty, Ghost Recon, all that. Back when LAN functions were still kind of a thing in games. So, cool dude. But I kind of had to eventually tell him, bro, you need to stop standing up your console. You need to lay it down flat, because there were so many times he would come in with 4 copies of a game and all 4 of them would have that perfect ring. And it's like, what am I going to do? Tell him that I can't return it? Like, you can't do that. He's like my best customer. But man, I think that it'll be a good return to form for Call of Duty. I mean, I'm a good example of somebody who was kind of out of the Call of Duty game, and I'm probably going to pick it up now. So there you go. Where do you want to go next, Danny? What's our next topic?
Keeping it with Xbox.
Okay.
We have Project xCloud, which before the show, allegedly you had no idea what this is.
I vaguely remember them announcing something about this at like an E3. I think I'm thinking of the right thing here, but I could be wrong.
2 days ago, I think.
Okay, well then I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
Project xCloud is, they've had a similar thing, they announced it, where you could stream your games to your laptop.
Yeah.
Off your Xbox to your laptop. Project xCloud is letting you stream games off your Xbox to your phone or your tablet. So you can play Forza, Call of Duty, Black Ops 4 on your phone. Streaming it from your Xbox.
That is perfectly fine by me. I think that that's the future of Xbox. PlayStation kind of tinkered with this idea. There was a time when you could do remote play with a PlayStation Portable, and I think there was something like that for PS Vita. Yeah. And I thought that was a really ingenious function. I don't think many people used it, but I did know quite a few people who did. Granted, I hang out with other people who play games very frequently, so I don't know if your typical consumer was even aware of it, much less used it. But I did think it was a really ingenious idea. When it comes to Xbox, I think Xbox's future is not necessarily the hardware game. I think that it's the service itself. And the reason I say that is Xbox Live has been a huge success for them. They've had Xbox Live for, like 16, 17 years now. It's been out for a long time. And it's been really successful. I love the service. I've been a customer since week 1. Day 2 or 3 of the service. I bought it and never canceled it. So like, I think that's their future, and what they're doing with like things like Xbox Live Play Anywhere, and this xCloud project, it's really cool. And it seems to me like what you're describing to me is kind of an extension of Xbox Play Anywhere, where if I were to digitally purchase something like Forza Horizon 4, I can play it on my PC or I can play it on my Xbox. And I will tell you, as somebody who has 2 Xbox Ones in his home, it's still convenient. It's still convenient for me to be able to play it on a PC or play it on my Xbox, because sometimes I'm sitting at my desk editing. You play in your office? Yeah. Let's say hypothetically you have the downstairs Xbox. Yeah. So you had Xbox in the living room. Yeah. With the PC, you can play in your office, your bedroom, with only owning one Xbox. Or I could play it at Starbucks if I really wanted to play it at Starbucks. And then like play the other phone. Yeah, and then like the other the crapper. Why not? Why not? I feel like that's the most functionality that's going to get. Like 75% of its use will be because someone has to go to the bathroom. So when I have to travel for business, I always take a PC with me. That's like my PC, not like a work PC. Yeah. This would allow me to just take a laptop, whereas in the past, I'll tell you, this is embarrassing. You ever show up to a business meeting and you have like an extra piece of luggage and somebody sees you break that Xbox out of it? Like, you look like the world's biggest nerd. And I am that guy, because like I got Madden Ultimate Team challenges to do. Come on now. So you gotta grind those solos, bro. Gotta grind the solos. They come out every day. Yeah, dude. Gotta grind the solos, bro. Mud Heroes. The program is terrible, but yeah, I think it's a good move for Xbox, and I think that is their future. And like, I think hardware, as time goes on, and Sony's execs have alluded to this, I think hardware becomes less of a big deal in the future. Yep. I think it's going to be games as a service. Streaming is the future. I will also say that it kind of makes me want to go digital instead of physical. I will say one thing. Making weird facial gestures into the camera. I will say one thing. Feels like Xbox is ahead of the curve with most things recently. It's cyclical. I mean, when Xbox back when the Xbox One launched, this is what they were trying to do. Yeah, but I think part of it's presentation, Andy. I think that's how you present it. Like the way they presented it, 1, it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that, and 2, it didn't seem like consumers have a choice. No, it's like the DCEU versus the MCU. They originally started like the DCU. They just got to the finish point right off the bat, but now they got some build up. They let people slowly convince people to watch it. That's a fair comparison. And I'm saying it only that comparison because we have a topic soon. Yeah. So how do you feel about xCloud before we move on? Good thing,
I
bad
like
thing?
it.
You like it? Yeah, I figured you would.
Not gonna use it ever, but
Oh, come on, you'll use it.
never. We'll never use it.
If I ever see you use it, I'm gonna call you out on that.
All right, then I'll throw my Xbox at the window.
So I think we have one more gaming topic that you put on here about PSN name changes. Going to be available in November. So
speaking of Xbox ahead of the curve.
So you've been able to. Oh God, I feel like I'm gonna have an Xbox fanboy moment here. I don't think there's any way I can frame this up and not sound like an Xbox fanboy.
Yeah.
So I did not know that it was impossible to change your PSN name until this got announced. Now, some of you are out there saying, oh, that's because you're never on PlayStation. It's because I've never really had to change my PSN name. But when I saw somebody on a YouTube channel that I really enjoy talking about this becoming a feature in November, I was like, how does that not already exist? So good for PlayStation people. I just hope, if you want me to walk it back a little bit on the fanboyism, I assume Sony will not charge you for it like Xbox does after the first change.
No, you gotta charge it.
Do you really?
Yeah, you get one free.
Okay.
Obviously, and then you charge it because if you don't charge it, I mean Steam doesn't charge it, but like you see it on Steam too, people change their names daily.
Yeah.
Whatever like they're feeling.
There has to be some cost associated with it. I know somebody out there is
it's
like
a small amount.
Yeah, but
like,
I know there's some nerd like
there's got to be a
typing,
price
saying like there is no cost. But you know, like I think there has to be some kind of a cost
because then you're gonna have kids like a kid in my school. He changed his name to. You may have to bleep this. I don't know if it's bad, but he changed it to That Queef.
Nah, it's not that bad. I'm not bleeping that. That's not that bad of a word.
Because then you'll just have a bunch of people, making their names, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And you know what? I don't think this is a very good comparison, but I don't know this from experience, having done it personally, but I just know from just knowing people that work in the industry. Like, you can call up your phone provider and they'll change your phone number for free one time, and then after that they generally charge you a couple bucks. Just saying. So let's move on to our next topic. Where are we going next, Andy?
I will say I'm highlighting things that will go next, but
okay.
Anyways.
I didn't know if you were doing that to tell me, because we got this.
No, I'm not saying change topic. I was just like,
we got this new
the next
Google
thing
show
lined
notes thing going on.
I've been doing
guys.
this the entire time, but I finally put Alex in my Google Docs.
Well, that's just like, this is just like a dysfunctional relationship sometimes. I just have to say, Andy, like, how can you have a podcast and you're like, well,
ahead of the curve.
Well, no, you don't. You're not sharing. You're not letting me in, Andy. Like, this sounds like we're talking to a therapist about a dysfunctional marriage. But like, you can't just do something and not include me in it, and then act like you're ahead of the curve for doing it when I wasn't even aware of it. You're awful, Andy. You're a terrible.
Yeah,
you're a terrible podcast partner.
Right,
I know I am too, but yeah.
I mean, you have history with ending podcasts early.
Oh, ouch.
Anyways, next topic. We have James Gunn signed on to do Suicide Squad 2. Speaking of the
what are your
DCU
thoughts, Andy?
that we talked about before. A lot of people don't like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But be fun to see him make a great movie. I really enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Did not like Suicide Squad. Be interesting. Some people don't like his tweets.
Yeah.
And I think they should get over that.
So, my opinion is probably a more unpopular one. I know I'm gonna get some heat for this, but I really don't care, because it needs to be said.
Yeah.
If I go back in your history on social media, Andy, I'm sure I'll find something controversial.
Never.
Something stupid.
Nothing.
Maybe you said it during a fantasy draft for Madden.
Nope.
Yeah.
Happened.
So, like, seriously,
I back those claims up still to this day.
I mean, for real, were his tweets tasteless? Absolutely. Are they cause for concern? Yes. I totally agree. I think that they were tasteless. They weren't funny. They were tactless, all that. But I think that there is some, I don't know if I would say irony in it, but I do find it kind of interesting and unintentionally funny that so many people that are big DC fanboys were chomping at the bit for weeks and weeks and weeks to pile on James Gunn, and very happy that he got fired, and he did a terrible job with Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm going to be just completely honest, I don't know what movie they watched. I thought both Guardians of the Galaxy movies were good. They were enjoyable. They're not cinematic masterpieces. I know I've said that a billion times. These aren't films. They're movies. They're made for people to just go have a fun time and watch an action movie.
They're made for children.
Yeah, I mean, kinda. You know, it's a distraction. It's just an action movie.
Besides, like, Logan and Deadpool.
Yeah. There's not a lot of
Batman
depth
trilogy.
to it.
All comic book movies are literally made for children.
Yeah. They're fan service. I mean, that's all it is. And like, I thought that for it being a comic book movie about superheroes with a raccoon that talks and shoots guns, I thought they were fun movies. Me and my wife liked them. I don't think that James Gunn is bad at what he does. I think that he behaves poorly on social media. But I think it was just a matter of time before he got a second chance somewhere. But I do think it is interesting because all of those DC fanboys who, and by the way, Marvel fanboys are just as bad in other ways. So like,
fanboys. Yeah,
I really don't care. Like, and I know we were just calling me an Xbox fanboy, but I own all three systems, so you can't really even say that. But nevertheless, like, now he's working on a film that they were presumably looking forward to. So there you go. That one really backfired. I wonder if they're not going to go see it now.
No, we have short memories.
Yeah, well, I hope, like, again, not really a fan of the guy personally. I think that what he tweeted was disgusting, would be the word that comes to mind. But I guess I hope for the sake of Suicide Squad 2, considering I like the first movie.
Here's one question. Have you ever seen the movie Seven?
Oh, I love that movie.
So yeah, you like the movie, but Kevin Spacey is a big part of the movie.
I mean,
so like, you know, off-field issues don't bother. Like, in my opinion, people should stop thinking of off-field issues and look at the art that is presented.
Can I just say, and I know this is also going to be controversial, the allegations that were thrown in Kevin Spacey's direction were really, really lacking details, and I don't know, man. Like, the Kevin Spacey thing just didn't make sense to me.
I'm not gonna call out the person because obviously no one knows on the podcast, but there's someone I know. Definitely not the roommate.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
He won't watch. I think it's Matthew Damon. He won't watch because of his political views. And who cares?
Yeah.
Just watch the movie and enjoy it. Have fun. Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the best movie in the MCU.
As a pretty hardcore conservative person, like, I've always been relatively conservative. If I didn't watch movies of people that I disagree with their political views, I wouldn't watch anything because Hollywood's unbelievably left. But I mean, a good movie's a good movie's a good movie. Seven's a great movie.
It is.
I hope Suicide Squad's good because I liked the first one. My wife loved it. She saw it twice in theaters. She saw it one time with me. She actually took a friend to see it a second time. We have it on Blu-ray.
Wait, Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
What? What about it?
I just don't like it.
Well, I know. Okay, I know, Andy. You're going to just be like, oh, you have no taste, Al. Because I know you always kind of like to play that up. Hey, you know what?
You always take it too much to the heart.
I'm just playing around. It's just a joke, man. Just settle down. We're just having some banter here.
There's truth to everything.
Okay, well, okay, true.
There's some truth to everything.
You know, Suicide Squad 1, it won an Academy Award.
Yeah, for like music or something.
It won an Academy Award. It's Academy Award winning Suicide Squad.
It had a good soundtrack.
It did have a good soundtrack. I think it actually won for special effects, makeup effects.
No, yeah, it was makeup. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Anyway, looking forward
also
to
has a
it.
good soundtrack.
Looking forward to Suicide Squad 2. I hope it's good.
I mean,
Maybe
I don't have
Andy will
anything against
enjoy
the
it.
Movies.
Maybe Andy will
Maybe.
enjoy the second one. You know,
I
you
mean,
never know.
The two James Gunn movies I know I've seen. Let's Google his list of stuff real
I
fast.
mean, maybe we could see Suicide Squad 2 together. Who knows? You know, maybe we could like.
So everything he's directed, I've seen. I've seen. That doesn't really count as a movie, but from the movies I've seen of his, I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, well, there you go.
He did direct a segment of movie 43, but that doesn't count because it's a little segment, and that movie's kind of bad.
Yeah, just don't tweet anymore, James Gunn. Not about that kind of stuff. It's really bad.
I think people should stop caring about the off-field stuff.
I mean,
Unless it's like Kevin Spacey, obviously.
You know, at the end of the
Or,
day,
like,
Andy, like
Subway guy.
there used
But
to be
their
a
tweets.
yeah. I mean, if you do something that harms somebody, that's different, right?
Yeah.
So like, but a tweet.
I mean,
Nobody's
people go watch Tom Cruise movies, and he's hardcore Scientologist. And if you have anything, I think most people, some people have some stuff bad to say about that.
There's some dangerous aspects to Scientology,
Yeah.
just like there's dangerous aspects to any religion.
Anyways, moving on. Next topic. Film Club. Here we go. Last week, Alexander suggested Road Trip, which is unofficially named the movie of the podcast, by the way, because we keep on mentioning it.
Yeah.
So we had Road Trip, and he suggested it, so I guess I give my thoughts. I will say one thing that I thought was funny that I thought you were going to bring up, but I'm going to bring it up before you, even if you weren't, was in the movie, he rewinded tapes.
Yeah.
Which is something that I have never dealt with. I've watched VHSs, but I've never dealt with rewinding the tapes. Which I thought that was funny. Another thing I want to say is the Jacob kid in the movie. Everyone knows that guy, and no one likes him. Everyone has that one guy that's like that, and no one likes him.
Yeah.
And these are all takes of me. Like, I've seen the movie a couple times.
Yeah.
And then Sean William Scott, he plays EL in the movie.
Yeah.
That guy's a legend. I love that dude.
He was in a lot of movies at that time.
Yeah,
He
he
was
plays
really-
one character.
He
but
does.
Every time I see him, I get kind of happy. I'm like that guy,
Reminds me a little bit of John Heder.
the stiff meister.
Yeah. So, anything else, Andy?
No, that's all I wrote down.
Overall, has it aged well in your opinion?
I mean, it's not that great a movie to begin with.
Okay. Critics actually liked it. It was a financial success. So by those two standards, I would say it was a successful movie at the time. But
I mean, I guess, but
Okay.
I feel like, no.
no,
I feel like there's better movies in the genre now that overshadow it.
that may be a fair point. I went back and I watched this, and I guess I kind of view it through a different lens than Andy.
Because if you throw it to someone my age that were born when they came out,
Mm-hmm.
you show them like the American Pie franchise.
True.
They show them this, and then tell them like what year they came out of.
Okay.
I feel like they would prefer American Pie by a mile.
So American Pie.
Not the actual numbered series, not the spin-offs.
No. I know what you're saying. Like American Pie, I'm not talking about the direct-to-movie ones. I'm talking about the ones that actually had Jason Biggs in it and Sean William Scott and all the rest, right? Those movies I felt were kind of the guy version. Stay with me here. The guy version of the Princess Diaries movies, because the Princess Diaries movies, like girls grew up with the movies. It started out with a girl who was like in very young adolescence, moved into a girl that was a young adult. American Pie moved from a kid that was in his senior year of high school,
college,
all the way to American Wedding, which, by the way, was actually a really good movie. It was still really funny.
I like them all.
Yeah, I love them all.
I like the spin-offs, but I understand that they're...
Yeah, the spin-offs aren't as good, but I mean, they were direct to tape and all that. But like the American Pie franchise would obviously be a step above Road Trip. As someone who I saw this movie obviously in a very different time in my life than Andy probably did. And it came out when I was, I believe, 14 or 15 years old. And I really liked the movie.
What year were you born?
1985.
So 15.
Okay, so I was 15 when this came out. I remember very specifically, I was a sophomore in high school. My high school teacher worked in a movie store where they rent movies. He got an early copy of this and brought it to school and played it for us. I have no idea why. Probably should have gotten fired for doing it. I mean, it had topless scenes. There was a lot of nudity in this movie. What we watched was definitely the unrated. There was a lot of boobage.
Some.
Well, I just feel like there was quite a bit. So, like, I liked the movie. I thought it was hilarious at 15. I was worried when I went back to it that I wouldn't find the humor funny anymore. But I did find myself laughing a couple times in the film, specifically at the Tom Green parts more than anything else. But Sean William Scott also had some really funny parts in this movie, as well as DJ Qualls. So I felt like the humor for the most part held up. I think that kids watching it now wouldn't understand some aspects of the movie, like you mentioned the videotape and
the phone.
He uses a payphone.
Yeah.
So it
he's payphone. He's like a...
Yeah, so like it hasn't necessarily aged that well, but then again, like even if you go to something like Seinfeld, like if kids that watch Seinfeld now, they like the first question they usually have is why didn't they just call the other person on their cell phone? They don't understand that at the time cell phones weren't a thing. Yeah. Right? So like every movie kind of struggles with that technology aspect.
Cell phones were a thing when this came out.
Yeah, but they weren't really utilized that much.
They're poor college kids.
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I still like the movie. I still think it was really good. A couple things that I thought were kind of interesting as I was watching it, just observations I made. I don't think that you could make this movie today. I feel like there was a lot of humor in it that people today would find too offensive. Like, they made fun of, like, when they go to the black fraternity, there was a lot of jokes about race, which I thought were tasteful and funny. Because they're just making fun of... I
feel like you still make that joke today.
Probably, but I feel like there were some people that would be offended by it. I think there would also be some people
offended by Black Klansman.
That's true, too.
And Black Panther.
Also true, so maybe... I don't know, man. I just feel like this probably would have gotten... I think this movie originally got rated R. I could be wrong.
Yeah, most definitely. There was tits in it.
Yeah, I feel like... Nowadays, they would have to water this down to hit a PG-13 rating, and it wouldn't be the same. I thought Tom Green was excellent in this. Sean William Scott, excellent. DJ Qualls was really good in it. Everybody else, not overly memorable, in my opinion. But then, just one other thing. You mentioned it earlier, Sean William Scott always kind of plays the same character. I feel like when they were casting this movie, they're like, get a Stifler. And they're like, wait, we
I feel like that's how every movie is. They're like,
we can't call him Stifler.
We need the Stiffmeister.
They're like, just hire the same guy and we'll just call him EL.
Like when they make that genre of movie, they're like, you gotta have Stiffmeister.
Yeah, you gotta have a Stifler. Like, but
I feel like people will go to the movie, like not when this came out, but let's say this was made today. I feel like people would go to the movie just Stiffmeister's in it.
I think that at the time he was so hot that there were people that were in my age group at the time of 15 that probably saw the movie strictly because Sean William Scott was in it. Just like I watched the Tom Green show a lot at that age. I knew Tom Green was in this movie, and that was what made me interested in it as well.
I will say the main actor sucked.
Well, he's a straight man in the movie. He's just a straight man to kind of set it up. Yeah.
Kind of garbage.
Am I the only one who, like, when I watched this again, I was like, he looks a little too old for college. I know that's a nitpick thing, but he just looked a little too old for me. to be in college. DJ Qualls looked like he could be in college. Sean William Scott definitely did. Tom Green's character is supposed to be too old to be in college. They make jokes about that in the movie.
He's been in college for 8 years.
Yeah.
He's telling the story.
Yeah, it's like but the main character really just he just looked a little too old to be in college for me. He was kind of pushing it like Dylan in 90210 the last couple of years.
It happens.
Anyway, so I liked it. Good movie. What are we watching next week, Andy?
Well, we had a fan vote, and so we had a fan vote. The suggestions were kind of lackluster, I should say. You guys want to submit some movies?
Come on, Andy.
Please,
they gave us 4 suggestions.
3 and 1 was pushing it. The one that won wasn't actually suggested, but it was like mentioned, and I threw it in there.
We averaged 3 listeners a week, and we got 4 suggestions. You should
3 listeners a week.
Yeah, dude, you should consider it a miracle.
All right. Well, anyways, Moneyball won.
Looking forward to it.
I've never seen it.
I have never seen it. I always wanted to see it because it's a sports movie, and I generally like sports movies. Excuse me. And anything that's a baseball movie, I generally like that too. One of my favorite movies of all time is Bull Durham.
Oh.
So, I also, another one, Guilty Pleasure, realize it's not a very good movie. It's pretty flawed. Major League and Major League 2. If those are on TV, I have to watch them.
What about the classic, Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams is a good one, too. What's the other one Kevin Costner did where he's like an older pitcher for Love of the Game, I think?
Yeah.
That was a terrific movie.
He also has Draft Day. Great. No, I'm kidding. Draft Day is so bad.
What's another? There's another baseball movie. Oh, this one. I know. It's just awful. It's... God, what the hell's the name of the movie?
The Benchwarmers?
No, that's funny. That one's funny, but it's
one
where...
of my favorite, Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch is awesome. There's a lot of good baseball movies, aren't there? Because Fever Pitch is good.
42.
42's outstanding.
Sandlot. I'm surprised they haven't gotten Sandlot.
Sandlot. Yet. There's another one where a kid, his grandfather. No, that one's okay, but his grandfather dies, and he becomes the manager of the Twins, and I forget the name of it.
Never heard of it.
They play it on the MLB Network all the time. Now watch me look it up. Watch me look it up. And it doesn't exist.
Mr. 3000?
I miss Bernie Mac. He was just...
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
8 Men Out.
Here it is. Okay, so it does exist because I know if I looked it up and it turns out that it didn't exist, Andy would be like, oh, it's the Mandela effect.
Bad News Bears.
It's called Little Big League. It was I remember I liked that one as a kid. But yeah, there's a lot of good baseball movies. I'm looking forward to Moneyball, so we're going to cover that one next week. So that being said, definitely go out there, watch Moneyball. Let us know what you thought about Road Trip. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Road Trip if you're out there listening, all 3 of you guys. And we'll cover Moneyball next week. And then after that, Andy gets to make his second selection for the DCD Film Club. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So, what do we got next, Andy?
I got to ask one thing.
Sure.
I may run a poll on it.
Okay.
Because I don't know how people feel about it.
Okay.
So, I this should be maybe off, but I'm putting on podcast.
Sure.
Would you be against or for me picking foreign films, aka you have to read subtitles the entire time?
I'm game. I'm game. Yeah.
Because next week, there's 3 movies I'm contemplating in my head, and one's a foreign film. So.
Yeah, I'm already starting to see a trend here with the film club, and I'm okay with this because that's kind of the intent, right? Like, Andy picks a good movie. Alex picks something stupid from the past that he likes a lot that nobody else likes. And then the third movie, the listeners will pick something that's good as well. So like
Yeah.
2 out of 3 weeks you get to watch a good film, and 1 out of those 3 weeks you get to watch some piece of
after episode
garbage
99,
that I'm nostalgic
what
about.
me and Spoon have been talking about, or Jared, Spoon Sandwich, the episode 1000, the Hallmark Revolution of Film Club. We guys watch Hallmark movies every week.
Well,
We won't be there because you're quitting. So whoever
yeah,
the two hosts were, it'll be Jared and someone else.
yeah. Everybody look it up in iTunes next week. Al Talks Aliens. It's coming. Anyway,
And I'm thinking about making an IMDb list. I haven't done this. I'm gonna make an IMDb list of all the movies that we've covered in the past.
ooh, I like that. That's a good one. So that being said, let's move on to our next topic.
What?
Ian.
Out of 10. Out of 10, what'd you think, Road Trip?
I know I'm biased. I think it's a solid 7.
I gave it 6. Once again, I go one under what you did.
Me calling it a 7, by the way, again, not cinematic masterpiece. It's a comedy. It's meant to be funny. I thought it succeeded, and I think it holds up well from a comedy standpoint. But yeah, 7
I
out
gave
of
it
10.
6. 6.
Check it out. If
Try
you
it
haven't
out.
already. Yeah.
That means the movie that Moneyball. We're going on a trend on this too.
Yeah.
You're gonna. Last time you went with an 8, and I went with a 7. This time you go with a 7. I'll go 6. So this
Okay.
week, Moneyball, you're gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna give it a 5.
So They Live. They Live was really, really good. I really liked that
Yeah.
movie. That hour and a half flew by. I was sad it was over.
Well, the first 10 to 8 to 10 minutes wasn't really that opening credits. Is what I'm saying.
Oh. I love the opening of that movie. Thought it was cool. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move on to the next topic, Andy.
All right, we have some UFC news. We're finally heading to sports.
Yep.
Something. We have. I guess we'll go with Khabib.
Yeah.
I had some tweets
Okay.
about it. I wonder your thoughts. So Khabib versus Conor McGregor. Khabib wins, jumps into the crowd, attacks someone,
Yep.
and then Conor attacks one of Khabib's guys, and then they attack him back.
Okay.
All chaos.
Hmm.
And I want to know your thoughts on it.
So I guess I'm in the minority. I saw the reaction on Twitter. Most people were picking sides. I'm glad Khabib did it. Oh, McGregor won even though he didn't win the fight. That proves that he won. Or I don't subscribe to any of that. I'm not the type that would say, oh, it was so savage what he did. I honestly think that it is dangerous. It's bad for the sport. I would put it one step below. One small step below Ron Artest jumping into the stands during an NBA game and throwing haymakers at NBA fans. And then NBA fans coming on the court and Jermaine O'Neal laying a guy out. That guy deserved to get laid out, but I'm just saying that was one small incident that turned into a melee and could have been turned into a riot. It was one of the worst things that ever happened in the NBA. I would say it might be the worst individual night the NBA has ever had, and certainly the most embarrassing incident that I can recall in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I thought that this was bad for the sport. I think Dana White put it pretty well. That he was disappointed in him.
Smart. Handled it.
Yeah, he did handle it. I don't think that this will ever happen again in the UFC. I don't think that
you see what's happening?
I did not see anything that's happening other than people got arrested.
Being fined $250,000. They're holding his purse, aka what he won from the fight, until the investigation is over, and a very heavy suspension.
Well, I mean, the word on the street is he doesn't intend to fight again, so I don't think that that's really gonna. I think the loss
There's
money
also
will
a
hurt.
rematch in the works of right now between them two.
Well, then I think that needs to be done with some kind of an agreement in place that if that nonsense happens again, nobody gets paid. I know McGregor got paid, but then later they were saying that he's getting investigated. I just think that I think it's bad for the sport, and what a terrible way.
Think it's bad for the sport. But there's one thing I've noticed since it happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people that like the UFC since it happened.
Well, I mean, it is controversial, and
Controversy
creates
creates.
cash. Yeah, I mean, it really does. I think that it has certainly it got headlines, but I worry when I see something like that. What immediately comes to my mind is we're getting into riot territory.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it. A riot.
If you owned that building, you would hesitate to have another UFC event there. It's like, I get that the aftermath, like UFC will probably come out getting better pay-per-view buys or whatever, because people love that aspect of.
I feel like the next fight will get a lot of buys, and then people will
Well, then it doesn't happen again, and
they'll all
then
go back to normal.
yeah, and those really aren't the fans that you want. I mean, it is
Yeah.
there is that aspect to live television where if you can create that sensation of people thinking anything could happen because it's
Yeah.
live, people buy into that, and that's fine. But I just thought overall it was bad for the sport. What were your thoughts, Andy?
I was very angry on Twitter.
I know you
Me
were.
and fellow friend of the podcast, Daniel, from The Reasons I'm Broke, got into a little discussion where emotions may have. I was a bit heated. He was just kind of like, you know. I know people that were saying that's like having a good time watching it and think it was enjoyable. I don't know what you're watching.
Well, I mean, some people are going to enjoy it.
To
But
quote Stone Cold Steve Austin on the matter, I
Yeah.
love professional wrestling.
I do love professional wrestling. I mean, I don't know. I guess the rematch will be a big moneymaker. I guess there's that. What the hell is Andy doing?
My cat wanted in.
Okay, so Andy's letting his cat in the door.
Yeah.
Okay, so next topic.
Derrick Lewis also fought the event. By the way, UFC 229 in general, fun event. Really enjoyed it. Tony Ferguson, fight of the night, was a spectacular. Will probably be fight of the year.
Yeah.
Very entertaining fight by Tony Ferguson and Anthony Pettis. I hope they have a rematch. What I tweeted, which would be awesome, is if they just gave the title to them, or gave the title to Tony Ferguson, rematch Tony Ferguson versus Anthony Pettis, because that fight, it had a terrible ending because Anthony Pettis broke his hand in the fight.
Yeah.
They had to end it. Would love to see that continue. Would love to see a rematch between them two. And that was a great fight. Conor got completely manhandled by Khabib. And then Derrick Lewis went out, got a big, huge win. Speaking of Derrick Lewis, after the fight, they go, "It's time. Is your next fight gonna be a championship fight?" He said, "I'm gonna sit my black butt down because I didn't train." Not to say 2 days later, announces UFC 30. It's next month. He's gonna fight Cormier for the title. And I mean, it'd be interesting. So you have any thoughts about that one? I know you're not that big of a fan of the sport.
Well, I did do a fair bit of research, and
Yeah.
the research that I did suggested that they really need a headlining fight for 230.
They didn't have
They
a
didn't really have one that fans were happy about. I know that they had a women's fight that was scheduled that people were a little lukewarm on. Not going to get into the politics behind that or anything like that. I'm just saying people were not.
And also, Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier, their fight got canceled.
Well, yeah, but I mean, people
Poirier.
weren't really excited about that as much. Meanwhile, it's like boxing. The heavyweight title usually is the one that people care about the most. I think right now in the current UFC climate, that's definitely been the case. With some of their biggest stars. Well, I'm just saying the UFC, some of their biggest stars, their biggest draws have been the Brock Lesnar's. And,
John Jones is light heavyweight, though.
Okay, well, that's
McGregor.
okay, but
Ronda Rousey.
I'm just saying, generally speaking, anytime there's a heavyweight title fight, their pay-per-view buy rate has to be better. I think that, honestly, my take on this, and from looking at UFC 229, I think they saw somebody in Derrick Lewis who is very marketable and entertaining, and he's also a pretty good fighter.
He is
But
tied for the most knockouts in heavyweight division history. And he
But-
knocks out Cormier, he'll break the record.
but I don't believe that he'll beat Cormier. I think that this is a
No.
guy they can. I feel like I'm
Cormier will
talking.
manhandle him.
I feel like I'm talking
But
about
the fun
booking
thing
pro
about the heavyweight
wrestling
division, it's different than other divisions.
here. Yeah.
Anybody could knock out anybody. It's the only division where anyone, I mean, obviously anyone can win in any fight.
Yeah.
The heavyweight division is just pure chaos because everyone has knockout power. Everyone can have one just random punch thrown and knock out the other guy and win.
Yeah, I mean, there was a 10-second period of time where I thought Shane Carwin was going to be the world's heavyweight champion for the UFC. But, I mean, I just feel like this is a marketable guy who's going to be entertaining and will
And they've
sell.
had some beef in the past, by the way.
Well, yeah, but
It
like,
was fun
honest.
beef, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, but, I mean, my take is, it's kind of like pro wrestling. This is a guy that you can feed to Cormier.
Yeah.
That he will probably beat pretty easily, pretty handily, and then that sets him up.
Cormier, John Jones.
No, it sets up Cormier, Brock Lesnar.
No, John
You
Jones
can-
fights Alexander Gustafsson at 232. If John Jones wins that and Cormier wins that, there's no way they're not fighting.
No, you can't trust John Jones.
Not
He'll
a doubt
fail.
in my mind that they
John
fight.
Jones will not
Not
pass
a
the
doubt
drug
in my
test.
mind that there's a trilogy fight.
He won't pass the drug
Not
test.
a doubt in my mind.
Won't pass the drug test. You can't trust him. Can't trust
Not a doubt
him.
in my mind.
What happened last time they trusted John Jones to fight a
He's
main
literally
event?
just announced when we started this that they're fighting at 232 against Alexander Gustafsson. If he wins that, doesn't get caught for PEDs, there's going to be a trilogy
He's
fight.
gonna get caught for PEDs.
I'll put $5 that he doesn't.
John, I'll put $5 on that too. But John Jones is bad for the sport. Bad for the sport. He's a cheater.
No?
He's a cheater. He can't be relied upon.
bring it to
He's
WWE.
unreliable.
To bring it to WWE, compare that. You always need a heel. And
Yeah,
John Jones is the best in the business.
You do, and that's fine. That's fine.
John
But
Jones is the best heel in the business.
I don't care what anybody says. I think Cormier, Lesnar sells more pay-per-view buys. I know we won't get both, but John Jones versus Cormier, been
UFC
there,
doesn't care about
done
pay-per-view
that.
buys.
I would do UFC.
Dana White has said in the past he doesn't care about the numbers.
That's a lie. That's an
literally-
outright
he doesn't-
lie. That's like saying I don't like money. Come on. Get out of here with that.
I mean, he's going to get a steady paycheck. Just because one event sells exceedingly well doesn't mean that also takes other events on the table.
Does
You
he
think
does he own any stock in that company? Any. Not even 1%.
it's probably in his contract.
He cares. He's lying. He's just saying that because that's a political answer. It's not even lying. It's just a political answer.
They asked him what he thought about during Khabib. All the antics they were like, "What about the money from this event?" He's like, "I don't care."
That's the equivalent of a wide receiver in the NFL saying, "Yeah, I don't care if I don't catch a single pass as long as we win the game." Yeah, okay, champ. Let's see how you
Speaking of-
feel.
We didn't talk about this.
Yeah.
I'll put it down. Odell Beckham. We'll get to that in a second.
Bad teammate. I'm full of controversy today. I don't even care.
Oh, this topic's pretty good. I like it. Derrick Lewis was fun, by the way. In the arguing, Cormier and Derrick Lewis have had beef in the past because Derrick Lewis doesn't like Cormier. Do you know why?
I don't know because of his name.
Because Cormier disrespected Popeye's chicken.
Well, there you go.
So it's gonna be a big fight. I feel it's gonna be a fun fight. And no one knows. I hope Derrick Lewis wins.
Hey, Andy, just out of curiosity, why do you think they would rush a guy to fight in back-to-back events? Could that be to try and get more pay-per-view buys? Almost
No.
like they care about money.
Yeah, but the thing is though, Cormier versus Derrick Lewis isn't the big money fight though.
It's what's going to sell tickets, I'll tell you that much. And it also...
What's gonna sell tickets is Cormier Brock Lesnar, Cormier John Jones, Cormier Stipe Miocic.
We need Cormier Lesnar. Cormier Lesnar, everybody gets paid.
Like this is like the 4th or 5th best fight for Cormier right now, for money standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they could put Mark Hunt in there and it'd be like one step below this. Anyway, let's move on to our next topic.
I don't think it's about money.
It is. Everything's about money, man.
No.
Then why don't they charge less money for those pay-per-views? Because it's like $69.99. Why don't they just, if they don't care about money, just make it $39? How about $29? Come on, they care about money.
Prices change depending on the fight.
Well, I'm just saying, man, they care.
Diaz versus McGregor was $100.
Why? Because they care about money.
It's a business, but at the same time, you focusing more on the business. Derrick Lewis, like, never mind.
Okay.
I'm just ending this argument.
Okay.
All right, we have Odell Beckham, because we talked about it a second ago.
Bad teammate.
He wants 20 receptions a game and thinks the offensive scheme's bad, thinks Eli's bad.
You know what my biggest problem with the Odell Beckham interview was?
Dude, I thought it feels like a hostage situation. The video of it.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, my thing is, I didn't hear Odell Beckham talk about one thing he could do better. You never want to be the guy in the room. Take it from me. Take it from an old guy if you're out there listening and you're kind of younger. Take it from me. You never want to be the guy in the room who points the finger at everybody else and doesn't look inward. And a wise man once told me, it's a lot easier to look out a window than it is to look in the mirror. And I've always kind of carried that with me because it's the truth. Like, if you want to come in and say, this guy sucks, this scheme sucks, my coaches suck, my quarterback sucks, all that, you better have something else about how what you're doing needs to improve as well.
I mean, to quote Will Smith, fault versus responsibility. It's not his fault that he's on a bad team, but his responsibility to work every day, improve, and attempt to make the team better, work for the team.
I mean, if it's such a bad situation, why did he sign that contract?
Giancarlo.
It's sure. It's a great comparison. That's a terrific comparison. I am tired of these athletes. It happens in the NBA. It happened in MLB. It's happening in the NFL now. They sign these massive contracts with bad teams. And then they complain. Then they complain that the team. Well, Chris Davis doesn't.
Chris Davis can't go anywhere.
Chris Davis doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't complain because he knows that he should be thanking the Baltimore Orioles every single day that he even has a job. But like my take on it with Odell Beckham is, one, he's a bad teammate. He's shown that in the past. He's showing that now. This was something that I would have been very concerned about if I was the Giants. I think that's one of the reasons they had hesitance in signing him to a long-term deal, is they were afraid that once he got that, he'd start acting out. And look at what he's doing. He's acting out. He's being a bad teammate. To throw his teammates under a bus like that, really terrible. Just a bad look.
I'm going to change our top 10 wide receivers list. I had him at 3.
Yeah.
I'll just, take him out and throw Michael Thomas there.
He's still a talented player. He's unbelievably talented. I tell people that.
Michael Thomas.
No, Michael Thomas is having a hell of a year. And he had a great year last year, by the way. But with Odell Beckham, I find myself saying this all the time in streams. People will ask me commonly what I think about him. And it always is the same response. He's got, best in the world talent, and he's got worst in the world attitude. He has a bad attitude. He's not a great teammate. It's a liability, man. Eventually that catches up with you. And, funny thing is, and just to go back to another cliche, I would also hope that Odell Beckham learns sooner than later. It's not, you should probably be nice to the people on your way up because you're going to see them on the way down. Because when you're,
I don't think he sees Eli on the way down.
Well, probably not. But what I'm saying is,
they're already at the.
Be mindful of the fact that it's not forever. There will come a day when you're going to need to call in a favor.
Yeah.
Or you just won't be in the league anymore.
Maybe if he needs a favor, he can call that girl he was snorting cocaine with.
Allegedly.
There's a video. What do you mean?
I know, dude. I know.
It's salt.
It's salt. I really love Morton's.
It's cocaine.
Yeah. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's my vitamins. It goes straight to the bloodstream if you do it like this way.
Yeah. I wouldn't want him on my team.
To keep the drama in the world in sports. Jimmy Butler and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, speaking of bad teammates.
Jimmy Butler on the bench.
Yeah.
Specifically defended Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
That's all I really know, to be honest.
So, the official version, what they've actually confirmed, not the rumor, is that Jimmy Butler came to the practice, was very outspoken, very critical of Tom Thibodeau, very critical of the Timberwolves GM, who was present at the practice, whose name escapes me at the moment, and also very critical of his teammates that are also in the starting lineup. At one point, he said, you effing need me to win, that kind of thing. I think that I know a lot of people on Twitter were, much like the Khabib thing, applauding this and saying that this was really savage and all that, I think this is really not good for basketball. I would not want to be on a team with a guy like this. And
speaking of you going to saying you don't want Odell on your team, I don't think any team wants Jimmy Butler. But I mean, obviously the Heat do. But it's proven now that he's not going to enjoy playing anywhere. He didn't enjoy playing in Chicago. He now doesn't enjoy playing in Minnesota.
Well, I mean, eventually you just run out of places to play. Yeah.
And, he doesn't enjoy it. Signs with the Clippers. The Clippers stay being the Clippers. A.k.a. doing nothing.
Jimmy Butler's situation kind of reminds me, in a weird way, maybe because I was closer to the situation and a massive Magic fan that I am, kind of reminds me of the Dwight Howard thing, where Dwight Howard wanted out, was behaving very poorly, threw people under the bus on his way out of Orlando, tried to get his coach fired, feuded with the GM. It's very similar to what's going on right now in Minnesota. And, what was interesting about it is when Dwight Howard got to LA, which was one of the places that he supposedly wanted to go to, he didn't like it there. And it wasn't good enough. And the grass was greener somewhere else.
On paper, everything's amazing.
Well, yeah, and then he went to Houston, and he thought that was going to be great for him, and that didn't really work out either, and then he wanted out of there, and then he ended up in Charlotte, and he thought that was going to work out, and then he ended up in Atlanta. Well, he ended up in Atlanta, then Charlotte. I mean,
people always disregard Atlanta.
Well,
he was on the team.
I forget about that, but,
There's like the whole thing where it's like a guy, like, I think it was like a bunch of pictures of every team Dwight's ever played for, and they didn't have like a Hawks thing, and the Hawks Twitter was like, hey, we had Dwight. What do you mean?
It was a very forgettable year. I remember
it was like a week.
No, he was in Atlanta for a full year.
No, not Atlanta. Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the Nets.
Yeah. No. Who bought
the Nets?
Was the Nets that bought him
the
out?
Nets traded for him and then immediately bought him out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, the Nets.
Yeah, I think that the Jimmy Butler situation is kind of devolving into that. I think that there are a lot of people out there, specifically Miami fans right now, because they really do want a star in Miami, and I get that.
They don't have a face of the organization.
They really do they want somebody like a Jimmy Butler there, but and that would probably be the best situation for him. But I think that if Jimmy Butler went to Miami,
Riley says something and he gets mad.
I don't think that'll work. I don't think him in Miami will work. I think he very specifically wants to go to the Clippers.
He needs to go to like I guess the best team, for example, would be like a New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Where you walk in the locker room and you're instantly humbled. Like, if you don't play good, that guy will replace you. And we don't care. The only team in the NBA that's like that would be like the Spurs 4 or 5 years ago. There's not a team that could humble him.
Even the Spurs now, they wouldn't bother trading for him because they know that
the Spurs don't want him.
Greg Popovich would just bench him. And you know what? That brings up my next point. I know it'll never happen, but I've always wished for it to happen one time where they say to a guy like this, yeah, you want to be traded, and the teams that you've given us to trade to don't really have anything because Miami has a collection of parts.
Miami wasn't the team they gave him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Miami's the best deal that's come forward, and it's a collection of parts, that really won't help.
Get something.
I've always wanted a team to go spiteful and be like, you know what, pal, we're just gonna bench you. You could sit at home. Just
You know what? Their
done.
first practice, he was they put him at the end of the bench.
Whatever.
Okay, where the worst player on the team sits.
Whatever. It's Jimmy Butler. It's a game. It's a game, and I get what Tom Thibodeau's trying to do. He's trying to salvage a relationship that he built with him in Chicago. I would too, because Tom Thibodeau is quite literally coaching for his job. So he does want Jimmy Butler on that team because he does help them. If he's actually playing, 100% and he's trying, he does
Jimmy
help
Butler.
them. He's a good basketball player.
Like in Chicago, he plays 48 minutes a game.
But hey, man, Tom Thibodeau overplays people. He did that with Lou Deng. He's done it with Jimmy Butler. I'm sure he's going to do it with Andrew Wiggins at some point. But
Cat.
I think he might do that too. But I like what Minnesota's owner has said, where like we just got to get rid of this guy because he's a problem right now. You can't have players doing this.
It's like Giancarlo.
Yeah, it's Stanton. I can't stand that guy. Anyway, next topic, Andy. Unless you have anything else on Jimmy, I'm a bad teammate Butler. I feel like I feel like I've been trashing people. I was about to say something else, but I feel like I've been trashing people all night. I feel bad about that.
I will say I saw some Celtics fans being like, "The Celtics should trade for him."
No.
I would throw all my Celtics merch into the trash.
No, they have a good thing going.
Apparently, Anthony Davis wants to come to the Celtics.
No.
It's a rumor.
Anthony Davis, if he's smart, will be a Pele for life. But
It's not how the NBA works nowadays.
I know.
They don't really have anything. Drew Holiday.
Their
starting center.
Drew Holiday can ball.
Drew Holiday's great.
Yeah.
That's their second star. Their starting center is Julius Randle.
I don't know, dude. I just feel like if he could win one championship in New Orleans, it'd mean more than 6 in LA or 6 in Boston or whatever.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, exactly like that.
All right, so we have NFL.
Yep.
Anything last week stick out to you?
Drew Brees is the GOAT.
Drew Brees now has the most passing yards ever.
Yeah, that was a
You
great.
see the fun little video that Peyton Manning put out?
It was great. I thought it was just a great moment all together. So big moment for Drew Brees. Very well deserved. I feel like it's definitely not the last record he's going to break before his career's over.
Yeah.
But, man, and the Saints did look outstanding in that game. They dominated beginning to end. They're starting to come into form and look more like a Super Bowl team. I will also say
Alvin Kamara fantasy owners.
I was disappointed. I was facing
Extremely heated.
I won against my wife by 0.3 points in part because Alvin Kamara did not play well, and I had Mark Ingram on the bench because I.
Wait, you lost?
No, I won by 0.3, so I barely got by. Also, I don't know who the hell is going to beat the Rams or Kansas City. They continue to impress week in, week out. Kansas City played Jacksonville exceptionally well. I've lost all faith in Baltimore after their game against Cleveland. I don't think Baltimore. I know I had Baltimore, I think, penciled in as a wild card candidate. Not anymore. I'm done. I'm off the Ravens bandwagon. It's over. Sorry, Ravens fans. And then finally, Pittsburgh really looked good against Atlanta. They're starting to come into form. They got the run game going. The defense played well.
I've been humbled, by the way.
What's that?
I need to stop talking trash about Detroit.
Detroit impressed me. I don't know what got into them.
I thought they were going to start at 0-5. They beat the Patriots and the Packers. Okay, Detroit. I see you. My eyes on you. You have you got my attention.
It's been a weird year. It's been a lot of stuff like that.
Speaking of weird things, the Bills beat the Titans.
That doesn't surprise me too much.
I mean,
The Titans
can beat the Eagles. They can beat the Jaguars.
They're
but
so all over the place, dude. I don't know what to think about the Titans. So, who we got for week 6?
All right, let's go over. Thursday night football tomorrow night. The first time in a while that we recording it before Thursday night football. So, we have the defending NFC East champions, Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, up against the New York Giants in New York, or in New Jersey, however you want to say that. And who do you got?
So I have major concerns about Philly's run game, but I'm still taking Philly.
I have concerns about Carson Wentz, their run game, Philly's defense, but I also have concerns about the Giants. It's you could convince me either way, but I'm still gonna go Philadelphia.
Yeah, Saquon's looking better each week, by the way, for the Giants. Just gotta say. So, yeah.
Carson Wentz's QBR so far this season is like 40.
I think part of that's offensive play calling, but
Do you think they trade for Le'Veon?
No.
Do you think it happens?
Nope.
No.
Nope. That's a pipe dream.
I don't think Le'Veon leaves. I don't think Le'Veon gets traded at all.
No, nobody's going to give up anything of worth for basically what would equate to a rental.
Maybe New England.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I just don't see
All right,
it.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your favorite team, up against the Atlanta Falcons. And going with the Atlanta Falcons here. The Atlanta Falcons, surprisingly, 1-4. I didn't know that until I looked it up the other day. Surprising 1-4 team. I feel like they got to bounce. They got to bounce back. Get a big division win right here.
Well, who better to bounce back on than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by Jameis Winston? I'm gonna take the Falcons here, and they don't look like a 1-4 team. I know your record is who you are, but I think they're playing a little bit better than a 1-4 team.
Based on record alone, the Bucs are a better team. But
well,
I will beg to differ.
Jameis Winston will screw that up in no time. So yeah, Falcons.
Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 2-2-1 Pittsburgh Steelers at Cincinnati, and I don't know what it is about Cincinnati. I really like them this year, so I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. Big Ben historically plays awful in away games, and they don't have the Le'Veon Bell to pick up the offense, so I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has historically done very well against the Bengals. I looked for that to continue. I thought Pittsburgh showed up really well last week. Nothing against Cincinnati, but I'm taking Pittsburgh here.
All right. First differing pick. And then we have the Los Angeles Chargers up against the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield picked up his first loss last week, I believe. I may be remembering that wrong. But nonetheless, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Cleveland won last week in overtime on a field goal that looked like it had no chance of going in.
I was going to tweet this. Oh, yeah, that's right. The worst field goal ever. Yeah. I was going to tweet this, but I forgot. It's unfair that Cleveland gets to play an extra quarter every week.
It is. I really like this Cleveland team. I think that they're starting to show... They're starting to come around, if that makes sense. There's a lot of young players on that team, and they're starting to contribute and learn how to win football games, and it's kind of cool to see it in progress. But I do have the Chargers here just because of Phillip Rivers. I don't think it'll be an easy game, but I have the Chargers here.
Another OT game?
No.
No? All right.
No. Chargers are good.
Then we have the Buffalo Bills. Horrific this season. 2 amazing wins. Up against Houston Texans, also terrible this season. Dallas should have won that game, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Bills are the worst team in football, I still believe, so I'm going to go with the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I'm going with
both really bad.
Yeah, I don't really like either team. Not really a big fan of their direction. Other than Josh Allen does look pretty promising thus far. A little bit more promising than I would have expected being asked to come in this early, but I'm taking Houston here just because I feel like their defense will pester Allen enough to make it a problem. But at the same time, Buffalo does have a decent chance of bothering Watson, who has looked very human. I don't know. I'm just gonna take Houston because they're playing at home and they have JJ Watt. That's
DeAndre Hopkins, by the way, that spin cycle in OT. amazing.
By the way,
Love
J.J. Watt, people aren't talking about him much. He's leading the league in sacks. He's tied with his brother, T.J. Watt, for the league lead in
You
sacks.
see the Watt Black Ops 4 commercial?
No.
That was funny.
I'll have to check that one out.
It's like the three of them are in a helicopter, and they're yelling like, someone says Watt, and they're like, what?
Those commercials are good, man, because like the Post Malone
really
one
fun.
was actually pretty good.
There's
I saw
Von
that
Miller
one.
one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a Von Miller one.
I love Von Miller. He's
They're like playing him for like each game, like each like national game. They make like a special one for the home team.
That's neat. Von Miller is awesome. I think he's really cool and funny. And
they made like a chicken farmer little joke in it.
well, he's also a pretty smart guy because he does have that chicken farm. Von Miller is a cool dude.
You know who else has a chicken farm?
Who's that?
Joe Rogan.
Really?
Yeah, he grows his own chickens.
Man, the more I learn about Joe Rogan, like the cooler I think he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He prefers the eggs from the chickens instead of buying eggs.
Well, I have heard. I know we're getting on a chicken rant here, but I've heard that the eggs that you get fresh from a chicken, you would not want to go back to the store ones. There's that much of a difference.
Apparently, there's like I don't know what the actual thing is, but there's like a chemical slime on the egg when it comes out of the chicken that the store-bought ones they wash off.
Yeah.
That apparently make them taste better.
Also, I did find out from doing some research on why, because I was trying to figure out why people say this. When you go buy an egg at a store, it can be legally like 2 weeks old at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go back to sports. We had the amazing Chicago Bears. I love them more and more every week.
Yeah.
Coming off a bye in Miami. Miami's also having a great season. But I'm going to go with Chicago. I don't think I could ever go against Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago is just firing all cylinders. Their offense looked really good against the Bucs. They're coming off a bye. I have them beating Miami.
We have the Arizona Cardinals, another team that we've been trashing every week. They picked up a big win against my 49ers, so you know, fun. In Minnesota, playing Minnesota at home, got to go with it.
Same here, Minnesota all the way.
We have the Indianapolis Colts up against the New York Jets. I'm going to go with the Jets.
I'm going Colts.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
Low-key fun one.
I think it'll be a good one.
It's going to be underestimated. I don't know.
Luck versus Darnold could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both teams that don't have any receivers besides T.Y. Hilton.
Who is still pretty banged up from what I've heard.
So there's the no receiver bowl.
Yeah. Lots of drop passes. Yeah.
Besides Cleveland. Speaking of drop passes, did I tell you about Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, he's leading the league or something.
He's played 2.5 games and he's 5th in drop passes. All right, then we have the Seattle Seahawks up against Oakland, and Oakland is just like the Arizona Cardinals and the Bills. I'm never gonna pick for them. Go with Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going Seattle here. I like Seattle's O-line was terrible last year. This year they're a top 5 unit. And their defense has been better than expected, considering the losses they've had in terms of personnel. And then, of course, you have Russell Wilson, so I'm taking Seattle here.
Then we have we have Carolina Panthers at Washington. Washington getting destroyed on Columbus Day against the New Orleans Saints. And Josh Norman got benched, if you didn't know that. It's a fun fact.
Yeah.
And going up against the Carolina Panthers, but I still have Washington winning it.
Yeah, I like Washington in this game, too. They're playing at home. I think they could bounce back. Big believer in Alex Smith. I got Washington.
We have the Los Angeles Rams up against the Denver Broncos. Nothing much. Rams win. Until they lose, going for them.
Yeah, hard to pick against the Rams at this point, especially with Denver looking very up and down every week. So,
if you go from like top down the roster, the Rams are just stacked.
Yeah, the only way I see them having a potential problem, the Rams, in this game, is if for some reason Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks don't play. I see that maybe being a potential problem for the Rams, but even then, I still don't know if I pick against them.
The only thing I've seen troubling with the Rams is Seattle easily ran up the gut and got decent chunks every time.
Yeah, yeah, but
that doesn't, you can't run up the gut every single time and win a football game.
and hard to stick to that strategy of running up the gut if they're dropping points on you like nobody's business. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that's easily mitigated by their offense.
We have the Jacksonville Jaguars in Dallas, and Jacksonville had them winning the Super Bowl. Got to go with them. Dallas looked awful last week.
Yeah, angry team coming off of a bad loss. Lots of guys looking to redeem themselves. Sorry, Dak.
Both sides, actually, coming off bad losses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's being mad and being good, and then there's just being mad. And then the other thing too is I think that coaching really does play a role here, and I think that Dallas's coaching this year has been unbelievably questionable. I think Scott Linehan has a lot of question marks. I think Jason Garrett has a lot of question marks. Jerry Jones, who has been Jason Garrett's biggest supporter and puppeteer, does not seem to like what Jason Garrett's doing.
Can I make a bold prediction?
Concerning. Sure, what's your bold prediction?
Next year, the Dallas Cowboys head coach will be Lincoln Riley, the current head coach of Oklahoma.
I could see that.
Some say he's the top 5 offensive mind in football in general.
You know, anytime the Dallas Cowboys have a potential coaching opening, I like to think that Jerry Jones gets on the phone with Roger Goodell and asks him if there's a chance that he'll waive the rule where an owner can't be a coach. Because I really mean this. I truly believe that if that rule wasn't in place, Jerry Jones would be the coach of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I truly think that, because he won't hire a general manager either.
The thing is with Jerry Jones is he's very loyal to his head coach. So I feel like that's the number one destination if I was a head coach anywhere. Because Jason Garrett should have been fired a long time ago.
He's loyal to some coaches. He wasn't very loyal to Bill Parcells, and he certainly wasn't very loyal to Wade Phillips. And I would make the argument that he wasn't really that cool with Jimmy Johnson either. And, I think that Jason Garrett is the perfect coach for Jerry Jones because he'll never question him.
Would you rather go to the Cowboys or be with the Browns for 2 seasons and get fired?
I mean, if you're asking me, wouldn't it be a dream to coach America's team? And they are America's team. I don't care who the hell you are. Like, shut up, Packers fans. They are America's team.
Question Packers. There was a poll, each state, that based off states, not overall fans.
Yeah.
They voted on their favorite out-of-state team.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tampa, Fuller can't vote for the Bucks.
Yeah.
All that. The team with the most states, you have a guess?
I don't know. It's probably Pittsburgh.
San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Dallas is America's team. Skip Bayless said it. It's true. Sorry. Bye.
Numbers will say Denver, but...
You're probably right.
Well, Peyton Manning era Denver is the most liked team in America. But, America's team. Why not go to it? Next game, we have Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. I already said that twice. But Baltimore coming off a loss. Tennessee coming off a loss. Tennessee playing at home. And this is like a 50-50 game that I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Yeah, I have Baltimore going into Tennessee, playing in Tennessee, and the Titans get the win in Tennessee. That's an ATH pick for you.
Is it?
Well, because you kept saying Tennessee.
I mean,
I'm just giving you hell, man. That's all. But yeah, I'm completely off the Baltimore Ravens train right now.
How do you say the state that Chicago's in?
Illinois.
All right. Just, make sure. Kansas City at New England. Kansas City's flaming hot, and I'm going to stay with them.
Yeah, flaming hot like Cheetos, your new podcast host as of next week. And I'm going with the Chiefs.
All right, we have the San Francisco 49ers Monday Night Football. 49ers, Packers. 49ers always slay the Packers. Casey, Jarrett, Beathard, the main man. Going to go in Lambeau and lose.
Dude, I was so ready for you to pick the 49ers here, but I don't know. I can't pick against Green Bay here. Green Bay is really usually very good at home. This is a tough trip for a West Coast team. And if Garoppolo was playing, this would be a killer game. I mean, I hate to say that. I feel bad because you're a 49ers fan, but I feel like this would have been a killer matchup if Garoppolo was playing. You angry, Andy? Oh, no, he quit the phone call again. And now we've got Andy as a blue spinning wheel. Oh, no. It's just me. Well, so we've made our week 6 picks. Oh, my God, what the hell is going on? I don't know what's going on, guys. If you're watching the video version, you'll see this mayhem. If you're listening to the audio version, you probably just think that I'm having a stroke. So we made our week six picks. I know we're coming up on time here, so I'll quickly go over my hype man reel. If you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering, hey, I want to listen to this podcast on the audio version only, we're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, basically everywhere other than SoundCloud. And then if you're listening to the audio-only version, you're wondering, hey, where can I find this video version? You can go to deadchannelduo.com, and you can find our YouTube link there. Or you can just search for Dead Channel Duo on YouTube, and you'll find us.
T-shirts.
We have 20 subscribers. Yes, we have T-shirts.
21 subscribers.
21 subscribers. Look at that. We gained one since the last time I checked, so thanks to that person. You can also find our T-shirts. We have T-shirts in the link in the description. There's a link on the audio version, the video version, all that. So that's pretty cool. Buy a T-shirt, wear it on a first date. I guarantee you it'll get you over. Anyway, final thing. If you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, I'll give you a shout out. Please write a review so it'll actually tell me who left the review. I know a lot of you guys have gone out there and given us a 5-star review and not written one. It doesn't tell me who you are if you don't write a review. I know it's weird. But if you do, I'll give you a shout out. And I'll also give everybody a fun fact about you. When I say fun fact, a cool one, not an embarrassing one, like something like Andy having 13 YouTube channels. So that is it. I'm done selling now.
Red Sox. Keep on winning. ALCS, baby. Let's go. We're going to lose. Swept. What? Red Sox, please just win 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Celtics season starts, season opener. Up in playing Philadelphia. Hopefully they pick up a win. Probably will. Celtics are amazing.
Yeah, they're looking
and
good.
then the Bruins, just step it up.
Yeah, man, step it up, Bruins.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
Nothing. No.
Not there. No, I don't really have anything to add on that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thank you again for the downloads in September. I really appreciate it. I know Andy does as well. And we'll see you next week. Deuce. All right.
Bye.